There's a moment early in Frozen where Anna touches the white streak in her hair and laughs about it. Hans asks where it came from, and she says,
I was born with it. Although I dreamt I was kissed by a troll.
She thinks she's joking, but she isn't. 13 years before that line, a magic elder pulled the original memory out of her head and put a different one back in. The streak is the bookmark her body left on the night it happened. The kissed by a troll detail is the seam in the forgery leaking through. Also, there was a witness in that scene. He kept the memory, he still has it, and the night Anna's hair starts going white again, he stands across from her and builds a sentence designed to hide him. And that witness is the man Anna will marry. One line said about an unsupervised 8-year-old by an adult troll he'd never met.
Cuties, I'm gonna keep you.
That's the line that starts the entire operation this video is about. And before we get to him, think about Anna for 1 second. Anna is 5 years old the night it happens. She's 18 when she sees him again. In between is 13 years of walking past a closed door, asking her sister to come out, and never really knowing why it's closed. The version of her childhood she gets to remember doesn't contain the night that made her lonely. The white streak in her hair is the only thing her body kept that her mind wasn't allowed to. She spends the whole movie trying to find a person who feels like home. The film hands her one, but the film never tells her he was there when home got taken away. This is about the man Anna actually married, the boy the trolls kept, the witness to a memory wipe he never disclosed, and the half second where the screenwriter handed her crew the cover-up directly on the page. The trolls aren't love experts, they never were. The lie is the moral the film sent you home with. On the surface, it's you can't marry a man you just met. Underneath, it's something the film never says out loud but absolutely teaches, that the right move when an existing engagement starts feeling inconvenient is to throw it over for the new guy who showed up at the right moment. Frozen handed Anna one stranger to reject and a different stranger to leave the first one for, and told you the difference between them was her growth. Lee built the case on the page and bet the audience wouldn't look past the wonder in the music. Watch how the screenwriter Jennifer Lee blocks the prologue, because the audience remembers it as one tragic accident with one magical solution. It's two operations in one scene in the same minute of screen time, and one of them is Kristoff. 5-year-old Anna takes an ice blast to the head. The queen says she's ice cold. The king has one line.
I know where we have to go.
Lee gives the king a one-shot decision in the worst night of his life, and the man doesn't hesitate. He doesn't consult an advisor or ride into town. He goes to a shelf in his study, pulls down an ancient book inscribed with Old Norse runes, opens it to an ancient map, and rides into the mountains with both daughters. The king already knows where to find the trolls. The trolls already know to come out and meet a royal carriage. Whatever the relationship between the throne of Arendelle and the Valley of Living Rock is, it predates the accident, and we'll be coming back to that book. Now the second thread. While the king is riding into the valley, an 8-year-old Sami boy named Kristoff is alone in the forest with his reindeer calf. The ice harvesters who started the film with him leave him behind. The franchise never shows a biological parent for him, not in this film and not in the sequel. Not even in the spin-offs. Bulda never asks where they are. There's no search, no reunion. He hides behind a rock with Sven and watches the king ride past. A troll named Bulda then unfolds from the ground in front of him. She grabs him, Sven licks her face, and before any conversation or background check or any acknowledgement that this is a child whose family isn't present, she says the first words anyone speaks about Kristoff in the entire franchise.
Cuties, I'm gonna keep you.
That's the line, I'm gonna keep you. That's the language you use about a stray animal you're bringing home. Lee writes it, Bulda speaks it, but the film never asks the question her line skipped over. In the same scene in front of each other, Pabbie examines Anna and announces a doctrine that becomes the entire mechanical premise of this theory.
You are lucky it wasn't her heart. The heart is not so easily changed, but the head can be persuaded.
Listen to that line cold. Pabbie is openly telling a king that he can selectively edit cognition, and that affection is the only thing his magic can't touch. Hearts are hard, heads are easy. And the king consents in 4 words.
Do what you must.
No specification, no scope, no remove the danger but leave the relationship. Pabbie gets a blank check, and then he does something Lee gives him the line for and almost no audience remembers. He volunteers the scope back.
I recommend we remove all magic, even memories of magic. But don't worry, I leave the fun.
The king didn't ask for memories of magic to be removed. Pabbie offered. He wrote himself a curational brief on top of the king's blank check. He's announcing in front of the king and the unconscious child that he's going to decide which parts of her childhood she gets to keep. The fun stays, but the magic goes. He's editing for vibe, and what he does with it isn't what the audience thinks. Watch the animation. Pabbie pulls a glowing blue cloud of memories out of Anna's head. They're the accurate memories. Indoor magical play with Elsa, 2 girls in nightgowns, real history. And then he changes them. The screenplay says it directly. Grand Pabbie changes all of her magical memories to ordinary memories. Snowy play indoors with the girls in their nightgowns changes to outdoors on the winter fjords with the girls in their winter gear. He puts the ordinary memories back in her head. That isn't deletion or patching, it's a forgery. He didn't have to do that part. By his own stated doctrine, he could have just cleaned the trauma. But he chose instead to give Anna a substitute childhood, in which her sister's magic never existed. And that's 2 acquisitions in 1 minute. The trolls keep the boy, and the trolls forge the girl. The same elders in the same valley, right in front of each other, and the only adult in the scene that speaks says, "Do what you must," and rides home with a child whose history he just signed away without specifying scope. If the rest of the movie were about an orphan boy and a princess with no overlap, the prologue is tonal coincidence. But Frozen ends with that specific boy getting with that specific girl, and they even have a fake wedding ceremony staged by the same trolls who acquired him and edited her. The prologue isn't coincidence, it's the thesis statement. And stack the King's Runic book on top of it. Lee never explains how the king knew to come here. Disney's official tie-in novel, Frozen 2: Dangerous Secrets, fills in the part the film won't say out loud. Agnar's mother, Queen Rita, went to the trolls before any of this. She asked Pabbie to wipe her memories, and he did. That's canon. The night Anna got edited wasn't the first time the trolls had edited an Arendelle queen. The king had the book because the trolls had a relationship with the woman who raised him. He wasn't consulting strangers in an emergency, he was returning to the institution that had quietly handled the mind of the previous queen of Arendelle. And the novel does one more thing for us. On the same trip, before Pabbie meets Iduna and Agnar, they watch him perform a memory wipe on a grieving ice harvester. This is the line he gives her verbatim. "I can make your mind forget, but the heart is not so easily changed. You may not remember Elias, but you will always feel him in your heart, like a phantom pain that will never completely go away, and you will not know why." That's the same head-heart doctrine he delivers to the king in Frozen 20 plus years later. Word for word in the operative phrase, which means Pabbie's line to the king isn't bedside improvisation, it's a sales script. He gives it to the ice harvester, he gave it to Rita before her, and he gives it to the king. Same routine with 3 clients, decades apart. He's a practitioner with a brochure. Anna grows up thinking the door's closed because Elsa stopped loving her. The actual reason is on the floor of that valley, sitting next to an 8-year-old boy hiding behind a rock. And 13 years later, that boy is going to look that princess in the eye and answer a direct question with a sentence built to hide the truth. And the screenwriter wrote the cover-up directly into the stage direction. Cut to 13 years later. Anna walks into Wandering Oaken's trading post. She's engaged to a man she met within a day. Her sister has frozen the kingdom. Kristoff agrees to take her up the North Mountain. And I want to pause on one thing here, because the screenplay does something at this first meeting I genuinely can't fully explain. Lee writes zero recognition into the scene. Kristoff doesn't flinch, he doesn't stare, he gives her grief about marrying a stranger, he treats her like any random person. The film leaves it open whether the trolls also edited him or his memory of her face diminished. What the film does not leave open is what happens next. They get to Elsa's palace. Anna tries to bring her sister home. Elsa panics, throws out a blast of ice, and it hits Anna square in the chest. Same magic and same accident as the prologue, except this time it lands in the heart instead of the head. They escape the mountain, and on the ride down, the white streak from her childhood starts spreading. Her hair is going white in real time. Kristoff sees it, and he tells her his love expert friends can fix it. And one beat before Anna asks her question, Olaf catches Kristoff hesitating.
Does it look bad?
No.
You hesitated.
No, I didn't.
A sentient snowman just clocked him for hesitating, and that's the tell, right before the cover-up lands. Now Anna asks the only sensible question.
The love experts?
Love experts?
Uh-huh. And don't worry, they'll be able to fix this.
How do you know?
Because I've seen them do it before.
What Kristoff says is true. He has seen them do it before. The line he's hiding is what makes it a confession. He's seen them do it to her. He looks over her, remembering the moment he saw the trolls heal her as a child. That wasn't my interpretation. I just quoted the stage direction. Jennifer Lee wrote that, telling the animator and the voice actor that in this exact frame, Kristoff is staring at adult Anna and seeing 5-year-old Anna at the same time. Then he answers her question with a sentence built to hide his role in the answer. Jennifer Lee handed her crew the cover-up on a printed page. Think about that. A direct question gets a direct answer. How do you know? If you have nothing to hide, you say, well, I saw it happen when we were kids. You were the kid. If you have something to hide, you build a sentence that's technically true, but materially incomplete. Kristoff builds the second sentence, rewriting history in real time. Defenders will tell you that Kristoff is shy. He's socially awkward. He grew up around talking rocks. Maybe this is just a guy who doesn't understand how to socialize properly. But look at the very next scene. As they walk toward the valley, he gives Anna a granular warning brief about his family.
When I was a kid, it was just me and Sven until they, kind of took us in. I don't want to scare you. They can be a little inappropriate and loud, very loud. They're also stubborn at times and a little overbearing and heavy. I'm really heavy, which you'll get it. They're fine. They mean
Kristoff.
That's not the language of a shy man unable to find his words. That's a man who knows exactly what's about to happen and is downplaying it in advance. He's briefing her like a handler. And listen to the verb Lee picks. Took me in. Not raised me or they're my family. That's the same possessive verb the franchise has been carrying since Bulda's I'm gonna keep you. One is hospitality, while the other is possession. And here's the part you only catch with the screenplay open next to the movie. On the page, Lee wrote, until they took me in. In the booth, the line came out until they, kind of took us in. Count the changes. Me became us. Sven gets folded in so the listener hears a boy and his reindeer being adopted as a pair instead of a child being claimed alone. And a two-part verbal hedge, gets inserted in front of the verb. The exact kind of softener you would reach for if the original had landed too strong. The screenplay's line was sharp enough that somebody, somewhere between draft and recording, sanded it down in 3 places at once. But the receipt Lee wrote is still there. He warns Anna they're loud. He warns her they're stubborn. But he doesn't warn her that the family runs an appraisal sequence on house guests. He doesn't warn her that they sing about removing fiancés. Those are the things he leaves out. And here's the thing. Lee didn't just write the cover-up. She wrote the moment Kristoff's mask slips on. Just one beat earlier in the same scene, the parenthetical shy appears twice in the same exchange. One next to Kristoff's name and one next to Anna's. They're sharing a moment of awkwardness about being alone in the woods. That's when shy Kristoff exists on the page. The shy version of Kristoff is a real character, he just isn't the one answering Anna's questions. And here's the family confession. 2 scenes later, when the trolls list Kristoff's quirks in song, listen to one of the verbs they pick.
Or the way he covers up that he's the honest good.
Covers up. The trolls themselves admit in chorus that the boy they raised is a man who covers things up. Lee put it in the lyric. He delivers her to the valley, and the valley is ready for her. Jennifer Lee uses one word to describe what Bulda does the moment Anna walks into the valley. She studies her like a piece of cattle. Cattle, not looks over her or inspects her. Cattle. The screenwriter put livestock in the stage direction before the troll opened her mouth. Start with the welcome the trolls give Kristoff before they even notice Anna is there. One troll yanks him down by force. Another reaches for his pants.
Take off your clothes. I've washed them.
No, I'm gonna keep my clothes on.
The trolls aren't greeting him, they're handling him bodily without asking. And then Anna gets noticed.
He's brought a girl.
The trolls then surround Anna, body surf her across the crowd, and roll her into Kristoff's arms. That isn't a welcome either, but more like a delivery. They process her arrival the same way they processed him at age 8. Hands, then claim. Picture the math on this. Kristoff is 21. Bulda has had him since he was 8. That's 13 years inside that family circle, and the family's posture towards Anna the second she clears the tree line is fluent. Practiced. Bulda doesn't improvise the exam, she runs it. And Lee already showed us Kristoff running the exam himself on the sled on the way up the mountain.
Oh yeah? What's his last name?
Of the Southern Isles.
What's his favorite food?
Sandwiches.
Best friend's name?
Probably John.
Eye color.
Dreamy.
Foot size?
Foot size doesn't matter.
Have you had a meal with him yet? What if you hate the way he eats? What if you hate the way he picks his nose?
It's his nose.
And eats it.
Last name, favorite food, foot size. That's a man running a candidate vetting form. By the time Anna walks in, Kristoff already knows the choreography well enough to warn her about the volume and leave out the appraisal. Then Bulda climbs on top of her husband to get the look the stage direction already told us she's giving, the cattle look, and confirms it out loud.
Let me see. Bright eyes, working nose, strong teeth. Yes, she'll do nicely for our Kristoff.
Listen to where the sentence landed. Not on the teeth or the eyes, on the word our. Possessive. The human male in their possession has been brought a candidate, and the candidate has passed inspection. The franchise gives us an adult elder troll who claimed an unsupervised child with the words, "I'm gonna keep you," raised him for 13 years inside a household that runs appraisal sequences on women, and is about to sing him a song with an operational plan to remove his crush's fiance. That's grooming. And I want to be careful with that word because what I'm saying is that functionally, step by step, what this troll family does on screen is the textbook pattern. Isolate the child, replace the family of origin, control the social environment, engineer the partner. 4 for 4. Anna tries to protest. Kristoff cuts in.
No.
Got the wrong idea. No, that's not why I brought her here.
Hear what he objects to. He objects to the premise. He doesn't object to the idea of being claimed. The 13-year conditioning is doing its work. He's been through this before. He warned Anna up the path because he expected it. He doesn't fight it because fighting it isn't how their relationship works. He's, in his own words, learned to just roll with it. Then comes Fixer Upper. Yes, it's catchy. Yes, it's staged as comedy. But Disney villains have been singing their plans aloud since Be Prepared. Ursula sings the predatory contract in Poor Unfortunate Souls. Mother Gothel sings Mother Knows Best, a number that sounds like loving advice and is functionally the containment script of a woman who stole a child and isolated her for 18 years. The form is older than this movie. A song is the most efficient way Disney has ever found to let a character announce exactly what they're doing while the audience hums along. That's a tradition.
She is engaged to someone else, okay?
Then they huddle. They go offline for a beat to recalibrate. And what they come back with is, in plain English, an operational plan to remove the obstacle.
Her quote engagement is a flex arrangement.
Get the fiancé out of the way, and the whole thing will be fixed.
The trolls just sang in chorus that the engagement is flexible, the fiancé is removable, and the whole problem is solvable by elimination. Kristoff's only protest in the entire number is that Anna's engaged to someone else. He cites Hans without saying his name. He never says she doesn't want this. He never says he doesn't want this. Look at what just happened. The trolls have known about Anna's existence for 90 seconds and about her engagement for 1. They don't ask his name. They don't ask how long they've been together. They don't even ask if she's happy or if he's good to her. They huddle for 5 seconds and conjure up a workaround. And listen to the verdict Lee gives them in one phrase. Her quote engagement is a flex arrangement. A flex arrangement. They have zero information about the arrangement. They've decided it's flexible because it has to be flexible for the outcome they have already chosen. And listen to what they call it 1 bar later.
So she's a bit of a fixer-upper.
That's a minor thing.
A minor thing. A royal engagement to a foreign prince. The princess is wearing it on her face. The trolls call it minor. In the same breath they call her brain betwixt. A real love expert asks at least one question before recommending disillusion, but the trolls don't ask any. They diagnose the obstacle and write a prescription in the same verse. That is what a predator sounds like talking about somebody else's relationship. Not is she happy with him or does she want out? An obstacle in their way, something to be cleared. The film doesn't need them to be casting magic for that to be the lesson on the page. The lesson we're given is that an existing relationship, one they know nothing about, registers in this family as a thing in the way of an outcome they've already decided for both of them. And there's one more receipt buried in the same verse. A child troll, a literal kid in this family, pipes up with,
"And by the way, I don't see no ring."
But Anna's been wearing mittens since they walked into the valley. There's nothing visible to check. And even if you want to argue that's an animation oversight, ring or no ring tells you nothing on its own. Engaged people travel, sleep, and work without their rings all the time. Or maybe it got lost. The line isn't a valid observation either way. It's a legal-sounding dismissal coming from the family's youngest member, already fluent in their routine. Whatever Bulda has been running on Kristoff for 13 years, the next generation of trolls is already singing it back in chorus. And then watch the song's footwork. Verse 1, the song is about Kristoff. He's the fixer-upper. Kristoff feeds them the engagement line, then suddenly in verse 2, she is the fixer-upper. Her brain is betwixt and the fiancé is the thing in the way. And then in verses 3 and 4, the song quietly widens the diagnosis until everyone's a bit of a fixer-upper. And the original target gets buried under a chorus about fathers and sisters and brothers raising each other up. That's a real-time edit. The song says the loud part once, registers what it just said, and spends the next 90 seconds laundering it into a wedding hymn. And the audience, us, walks out humming the laundered version. And while they're singing about this, listen to what the same chorus says about Kristoff himself.
His isolation is confirmation of his desperation for a healing Hans.
The trolls confess in plain English about him being desperate. In the same number, they're laying out the plan to remove Anna's fiancé. And we're coming back to who else gets called desperate by who in the last 60 seconds of this movie. While the song is closing, the trolls do something the audience usually files as comedy. They dress Anna in moss bridal wear. They escort Kristoff and Anna into a ceremonial circle. And the screenplay's word for what the family does isn't an invitation. By this time, Kristoff and Anna are being ushered into a pit by the sheer force of numbers. Sheer force of numbers. That phrase has zero comedic distance, and the language of a crowd compelling someone to do something they didn't agree to. Then the priest starts the vows.
Do you, Anna, take Kristoff to be your trollfully wedded...
Wait, what?
You're getting married.
Notice who interrupts and who doesn't. Anna interrupts. Kristoff doesn't. The priest just keeps going. The vow is in progress. It doesn't stop because Anna refuses. It doesn't stop because Kristoff calls it off. It stops because Anna's body collapses from the frozen heart Elsa put there earlier. A wedding interrupted by a medical emergency isn't a fake out, but a wedding the film would have completed if Anna's body had held. And yes, 60 seconds later, Kristoff puts her on Sven and rides her back to Hans. He does that because he loves her. The song already told you the operation doesn't need him to remove Hans personally. Hans will remove himself, and we'll close that in a moment. The film doesn't end with a wedding, it ends with one more line that should have been a red flag, and almost nobody in the audience catches it.
No returns, no exchanges, Queen's orders. She's named you the official Arendelle Ice Master and Deliverer.
Queen's orders, state appointment, title. There was no Ice Master and Deliverer before this. Anna invented the role to embed him. The Sami boy Bulda claimed at age 8. The consort whose adoptive family spent 13 years grading candidates for him, the witness to the memory edit who never disclosed it, embedded inside Arendelle's apparatus by royal decree. The troll's chosen man is now wearing the crown's medal, and the king's runic book is still on the shelf in the study, waiting for the next generation that needs to know where to find them. And I know the obvious objection. If the trolls raised Kristoff to marry Anna, why does he put her on Sven and ride her back to Hans the second the wedding pit collapses? Because he loves her. Whatever the trolls built into him over those 13 years didn't survive the moment Anna started freezing solid in his arms. The conditioning fails on contact with her actual body. That isn't the operation breaking, rather it's Kristoff breaking, briefly on her behalf. The operation doesn't need him to remove Hans. The song already told you. Get the fiancé out of the way and the whole thing will be fixed. Hans removes himself. The closed loop runs either way. Here's where I want to land with Kristoff. The take that he's the corrective to Hans is wrong. Kristoff is the operation's most thorough success. He's what happens when you take a Sami boy at 8, raise him inside a family that openly grades women for him, groom him to roll with whatever the family stage is, and then, at 21, walk a memory-edited princess into the same valley where he was claimed. He loves Anna. He probably believes he chose her. The version of him that could have told her the truth on the sled and chose not to is the one moment of culpable silence in an otherwise blameless life. He stays silent because he loves her, and because the family that loves him gave him no other vocabulary to use. And now Hans calls it on his way out the door.
You are so desperate for love, you are willing to marry me just like that.
Desperate. Early in the movie, the trolls used the exact same word about Kristoff. His isolation that they sang was confirmation of his desperation. Lee gave the same diagnosis to 2 different children in 2 mouths. The villain sees it, the screenwriter wrote it, and the audience walks out humming the song. Now I want to stop prosecuting for a second and just look at Anna. She's 18 years old. She has spent 13 years walking past a closed door asking her sister to come out. She doesn't know why the door is closed. She can't know. The version of her childhood she remembers doesn't contain the night it happened. There's a white streak in her hair that she can't account for, and a joke about a troll kissing her she doesn't understand she's telling. She's been lonely in a way that has no story attached to it, which is the worst kind of lonely there is. The kind you can't fix because you can't name it. Watch what she says when she's dying, locked in a room, heart freezing, Olaf the only person with her.
I don't even know what love is.
That's okay. I do.
She's the heroine of an animated film about an act of true love thawing a frozen heart, and she just told a snowman she doesn't know what love is. That's what the troll's edited childhood sounds like at the end of the road. Anna's loneliness and desperation wasn't a personality flaw, it's what the trolls carved into her at age 5. It was the hollow another person was supposed to fit into. By the time she's old enough to fall in love, two men are walking toward that hollow on the same week. One of them confesses he had to marry into a throne, the other one was raised next to it. The film treats Anna's loneliness as her flaw, but it isn't her flaw, it's her wound. And when she finally gets to choose a husband, she chooses the only man who has been close enough to the wound to recognize it. But she doesn't know that he was there when it was made. The moral of Frozen, the one the audience walked out of the theater with in 2013, is you can't marry a man you just met. Anna learned this about Hans. The film never asks her to learn it about the boy raised by the same elder who edited her at 5. And thank you so much for watching. Drop a comment, agree, disagree, or report me to Pabbie for re-education. And YouTube really thinks you'll like this theory, so go check it out.